Have you ever left someone's home feeling more exhausted than when you arrived? As we get older, how we spend our time and, more importantly, who we spend it with becomes increasingly important. The truth is, certain visits aren't just a waste of time. They can drain your energy, disrupt your peace of mind, and even take a toll on your emotional well-being. But the problem is, we often don't realize this until it's too late. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 types of people whose homes you should avoid visiting after 65.0. No matter how much free time you have, whether it's out of habit, obligation, or a misplaced sense of politeness, many of us continue showing up at these homes without realizing the toll it takes on our mental and emotional state. Today we're breaking it all down so you can make better choices about where and with whom you spend your time. Stay tuned until the end, because understanding who to avoid is just as important as knowing who to keep close. These 4 people might seem harmless, but their company could be chipping away at your happiness, and by the time you realize it, the damage is already done. Once you recognize these patterns, you'll have the power to protect your energy, set healthy boundaries, and spend your golden years with people who truly uplift you. Number 1. The chronic complainer. Let's begin by talking about the first type, the chronic complainer. We all know someone who seems to find a cloud in every silver lining, a person whose home is often filled with sighs and grievances about everything from the weather to the state of the economy. I recall a dear friend, Joan, who lived just down the street. Every time I visited her, it wasn't long before the conversation turned to her struggles with arthritis, the endless repair needs of her old car, or the neighbors' incessant noise. Despite her kind heart, it became increasingly clear that her constant complaining was not a reflection of reality, but a habit that cast a shadow over even the brightest days. Studies have shown that persistent negativity can actually have a measurable effect on our own mood. For instance, research indicates that prolonged exposure to negative conversation can increase stress hormones like cortisol in our bodies, contributing to fatigue and even affecting our immune systems. Imagine that. Each visit, while meant to be a moment of connection, might also be chipping away at the joy and calm we so desperately need, especially as we age. One of the things I've learned from life lessons from the elderly is that while it's important to listen and offer support to those who are going through a rough patch, there comes a time when you must gently guard your own well-being. It's okay to acknowledge that sometimes after a long conversation filled with complaints, you might feel emotionally exhausted rather than uplifted. The trick is to balance empathy with self-care. For example, consider the case of Mr. Thompson, a retired teacher who, after years of sharing his grievances, began to set boundaries. He started inviting friends for shorter visits, ensuring that there was always a positive activity planned afterward, perhaps a walk in the park or a light meal at his favorite diner. By consciously deciding how much time he spent in negative environments, he preserved his energy for the moments that truly mattered. Think back to a time when you visited someone who was always negative. How did that experience affect you? And what did you do afterward to restore your own balance? Number 2, the manipulative user. Moving on, let's explore the second type, the manipulative user. This is someone who might invite you over not simply to share a friendly chat, but because they need a favor or two. And once you're there, you often find yourself caught in a web of obligation. I remember my neighbor Harold, who always seemed to call just when he needed help fixing a leaky faucet or when he wanted company to run errands. While his intentions were rarely malicious, over time the visits began to feel less like warm reunions and more like unpaid chores. It's important to recognize that relationships should be a two-way street, built on mutual respect and support. Unfortunately, some individuals, intentionally or not, treat companionship as a transaction. They might say things like, "I really don't know what I'd do without you," or "You're the only one who understands me." These phrases can tug at our heartstrings, making us feel indispensable. But when the scales tip too far, when every visit leaves you feeling more like a servant than a friend, it's a clear sign to pause and evaluate. Recent statistics reveal that nearly 30% of older adults report feeling exploited in their social interactions, often stemming from unbalanced relationships. These numbers underscore the importance of setting healthy boundaries. Remember, it's perfectly acceptable to say no, to reserve your energy for relationships that truly honor your value. One practical example comes from Mrs. Eleanor, who, after years of being the go-to person for her friends' needs, finally realized that her time was precious. She began scheduling visits where the agenda was mutually enjoyable, perhaps a coffee date or a shared walk. By doing so, she reclaimed her sense of autonomy and learned to balance giving with receiving. From the life lessons from the elderly, I've come to understand that while it's noble to help others, it's equally important to protect your own energy. We must ensure that our kindness does not turn into a source of stress or resentment. If you're still here, thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If today's message touched something true in your life, just comment number 2 so I know you're here. And if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. This channel is a gentle space where experience matters, kindness is shared, and growing older means something. I'm truly grateful. Number 3, the drama magnet. Now, let's discuss the drama magnet. Have you ever entered a home expecting a calm evening only to find yourself swept up in the middle of a family feud or a heated argument? I recall visiting a longtime friend, Linda, whose home always seemed to buzz with tension. No matter the occasion, there was always some story of conflict, whether it was about a neighbor dispute or an old family argument resurfacing. The drama was constant, and over time, the excitement of the stories was overshadowed by the exhaustion they left behind. It's not that these individuals intend to create chaos. Often, it's as if they thrive on the turbulence, finding familiarity in conflict rather than in calm. Some social scientists suggest that a moderate level of stress can be stimulating, but when stress becomes a daily companion, it can erode our mental and physical health. For older adults who have already weathered many storms, an environment of relentless drama can be particularly draining. Take Mr. Garcia, for instance, a retired mechanic who loved to share stories of his wild younger days. As time went on, however, his tales began to focus more on conflicts and disagreements. Friends noticed that after a visit, they would feel as if they'd just run a mental marathon. Recognizing this pattern, Mr. Garcia's friends started to steer conversations toward lighter topics, like the joy of gardening or the simple pleasure of a good cup of coffee, rather than letting the drama take center stage. This adjustment not only improved the atmosphere during visits, but also allowed everyone to leave feeling more at ease and connected. From my own experiences and the life lessons from the elderly, I've learned that while a bit of drama can spice up our days, too much of it can undermine the tranquility we cherish in our later years. Can you recall a time when you found yourself caught in the midst of family or community drama? How did that experience shape your feelings about the importance of peaceful, positive interactions? Number 4, the negative nostalgic. Some people live in the past, not in a way that brings warmth or wisdom, but in a way that keeps them stuck in bitterness, regret, and resentment. When you visit their home, the conversation always circles back to what went wrong, who disappointed them, or how life was unfair. It doesn't matter how much time has passed or how much good they have in their life today, their focus is always on what they've lost rather than what they still have. At first, it might seem like harmless reminiscing. After all, everyone enjoys talking about the past now and then. But with the negative nostalgic, it's never just about memories. It's about reliving disappointments. They'll bring up old family conflicts, past betrayals, or lost opportunities. The more they talk, the more they sink into resentment. Here's where it affects you. No matter how positive you try to be, they will always pull the conversation back to regret. Have you ever noticed that after spending time with certain people, you start to see the world the way they do? That's the danger of spending too much time with someone who fixates on the past. Without realizing it, you might find yourself dwelling on your own regrets and disappointments, things you thought you had let go of years ago. Slowly, without meaning to, you begin to adopt their perspective, seeing life through the lens of what could have been instead of what can still be. It's not just about their own regrets. They might also try to shape your view of life. They'll tell you that things will never be as good as they used to be, that today's world has nothing to offer, and that getting older only means loss. If you let those words sink in, they can start to feel like the truth. The reality is, life changes for everyone. There are always things to be grateful for, new experiences to enjoy, and new memories to create. But the negative nostalgic doesn't see it that way. To them, the best days are gone, and they have no interest in finding joy in the present. If you spend too much time in their home, you risk absorbing their hopelessness instead of protecting your own optimism. This doesn't mean you should avoid people who have been through hardships. There's a difference between sharing life lessons and clinging to past pain, between honoring memories and being trapped by them. After 65, you should be surrounding yourself with people who appreciate what life still has to offer, not those who only see what they've lost. If you're still here, thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If today's message touched something true in your life, just comment number 4 so I know you're here. And if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. This channel is a gentle space where experience matters, kindness is shared, and growing older means something. I'm truly grateful you're here. Final thoughts. As we draw this conversation to a close, I invite you to take a gentle pause and reflect on the 4 types of people we've discussed today. Have you ever left a friend's home feeling not quite yourself? Drained, frustrated, or weighed down by emotions that don't belong to you? Perhaps it's time to thoughtfully consider where you invest your time and with whom you share your company. After 65, preserving your peace of mind becomes more than a luxury, it is a vital necessity. This isn't about cutting people out of your life without cause. Rather, it's about being discerning in the energy you allow into your precious space. Some visits uplift your spirit, inspire a smile, and fill your heart with warmth. Others leave you questioning your worth and burdened with emotional weight that isn't yours to carry. In our later years, we've learned that our time, energy, and emotional well-being are just as important as the wisdom we share. Remember, you are not obliged to mend someone else's unhappiness or to shoulder the drama that others bring into your life. Cherish the moments that nourish you, moments filled with genuine connection, mutual respect, and kindness. So, ask yourself with a thoughtful heart, who in your life truly appreciates you? Who makes you feel valued and cherished? And whose home do you leave feeling lighter and more joyful than when you arrived? These are the relationships worth nurturing, for at this stage in life, every moment is a precious gift, and spending them wisely enriches our soul. The lessons we've gathered over the years remind us that a life well lived is one filled with warmth, kindness, and mutual care. We have come to understand that protecting our inner peace is not only an act of self-respect, but a way to honor the journey we have traveled. Embrace the wisdom of setting boundaries, for it is through mindful choices that we find true fulfillment. Thank you for joining us today. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments one valuable lesson you have learned along the way, and how you plan to cherish your time in the days to come. Your experiences and insights mean so much and can offer guidance to others walking a similar path. If you found today's reflections helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this message. Your support not only motivates us but also helps continue the legacy of sharing wisdom, warmth, and heartfelt connection. Remember the timeless proverb, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." May this thought inspire you to take that step toward nurturing relationships that bring light and joy into your life. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more life wisdom with you in our next gathering.